Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Chartreuse Leprechaun. My name is Mark, your host, and it's time for that monthly-ish update video. Got a lot of stuff I'd like your thoughts on this month, but as always, I've got the timestamp set up in the description below. You can watch straight through, you can skip around. Please check it all out and leave me your thoughts. Well, now, for starters, I thought I'd show off at least some of the new stuff we got. Normally, I get the stuff in from Amazon, and then I tell you I have it on hand because I've already installed it or something. Yeah, well, we got it all here, and I haven't had the chance to unpack it before making this video. Okay, so full disclosure, there are a couple of things we've already unpacked. Now, as you can see behind me over there, we have shelves again. The ones we had before, they belonged to my daughter. Well, when she moved out, she took them with her. Been kind of missing them. That's been a big empty space back there, and I didn't like it. Now, these are a bit darker colored than what I wanted, but it's really nice to have shelves again. Not actually satisfied with what's on them, not completely right now. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just not, I don't know, it's not entirely what I'm looking for. I'm not into like the whole game computer product placement thing because we're not a tech channel. But it'll do for now. It'll do for now. We also have this cool sign that you probably noticed over the chair. Well, here's a close-up of it. Not sure we're going to get any more signs. We might. The ones we have on the wall back there are all mounted using command strips. Well, yeah, command strips. So, well, we could get more and swap them out from time to time. That could be fun. Yeah, let me know what you think of that idea. We also got a Seagate hard drive, which we desperately needed, and this is an empty box because, yeah, it's already installed because it was necessary. Really, really necessary. Now for stuff we haven't completely unboxed. I did take it out of other boxes and put it all into like 2 boxes because, you know, Amazon likes to ship in big boxes for some stupid reason. Big boxes for small packages. I don't know. Yeah, but what did we get? We got a powered USB hub from Atola. Now, I have no idea how good this works. I liked the reviews. I was going through it, but it gives us 4 more USB slots, which we desperately need. We've been getting a lot more gear around here, and we need the inputs for it. So, and we'll be getting more. We'll talk more about that later. And because we're going longer distances around this room and plugging in more stuff, we got a 20-foot USB extension. Yeah, and we'll probably get another one or 2 or 3. Yeah. Speaking of inputs, I'm trying to work on light placement. So to help with that, I got this wonderful gooseneck mount. And it'll clamp onto a shelf, it'll clamp onto that bookcase back there, it'll clamp on all kinds of places, which lets us work on light placement to be more directional with our light, which we really need to do. I'm also looking at getting ceiling mounts. Right now we only have 2 lights. Obviously one of them will go on this, and the other one is it's fixed mounted on this pole. And I need, you know, like the one that I'm going to put on this gooseneck, I need that to be mobile. I need to move it around, well, at least for now. Well, we'll get there. We'll talk more about lights and so forth in a little bit. Now we get to the cool stuff. That was it in that box, right? Yeah, that was it in that box. Okay, so now for the cool stuff, or at least I hope it's the cool stuff. I gambled on some wireless lavalier microphones. Yes, they are cheap. $50 cheap. But aside from possibly being useful in our videos here, I have a side project I'm tinkering with where I'm going to need multiple microphones to be used at the same time. And I'm thinking these will do nicely. It's a 2-pack with a on-the-go connector And it plugs in. It's even got a display to let you know how charged it is. This one is currently 78%, and it's USB-C chargeable. So this is good. This is good. Looking forward to trying that out. We'll see how that goes. And if they don't work, we'll just send them back to Amazon with an appropriate review. The big deal, though, the big deal is this. A Samsung Q9U. Q9U, there it is. Dynamic microphone. The reviews on this are kind of mixed, but I want to get away from our condenser microphones and get more to the dynamic ones where we control sound direction, things of that nature, at least better than we do with condensers. My God, there's a lot of tape on this. This is a beefy little microphone. This thing has a lot of weight to it, so I'm kind of happy with the build and the construction, and it's got a nice mount to it. It's got good heft. It's got USB-C. It'll do XLR. Yeah, we should be in good shape with this. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. I do hope this microphone stand is beefy enough for this. Should have thought of that. And if it doesn't work out, we'll send that back to Amazon too, with an appropriate review. Hopefully all this stuff works out to be actual upgrades. It's going to be a lot of fun finding out. Okay, moving on. We've got all the usual selections this month. We've got tech education. We've got studio news, personal stuff, specifically medical stuff. And as I said earlier, I've got the timestamps in the description below, so watch straight through, skip around. Up to you. So let's get started with tech education, the part of the video where I talk about what we've learned on the technical side during the last month. So first, let's talk about graphics cards and temperatures. As you know, in August, we got an RTX 3080 to replace our GTX 1660. The good news is we can run everything with higher graphics setting, and the artifacting we saw going on from time to time stopped cold. There is still an occasional stutter that I haven't found the cause for, but Leprechaun willing, we'll figure that out. The bad news? Well, temps are up. Shocking! Who would think introducing a heat-increasing device would raise temperatures? Like, significantly up, and they're up in the computer and in the whole room. First, let's talk about the computer. At idle, it's anywhere from 5 to 6 C higher, depending on the weather. Fortunately, the almost daily temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is over 38 C, by the way, if you're wondering, those stopped in mid-August, and we got some rain. But the rain raised the humidity, which raised the heat index. So the mid to upper 90 Fahrenheit temperatures we have now, yeah, they're over 100 in terms of the heat index. Which means we didn't actually win. But again, that's 5 to 6 C at idle. Under load, it's a lot more. Rendering temps that were in the mid to, we'll call it mid 60s. Yeah, they're now pretty constantly in the low to mid 70s. And the extra heat led us to another discovery about our new studio room. And that discovery? The door. You see, in order to keep the household sounds out of our videos, we need to close the door. And being able to close that door was a big reason we moved into this room in the first place. However, turns out closing the door ruins airflow to the AC return vent right outside the door. Yeah, and as I'm sure you guessed, rocket science is not required. Heat isn't a problem with normal use of the room, but we're generating a lot more heat in here now. So with the door closed, it actually gets bad enough that when recording for over a half an hour, I start sweating. So we have to leave the door open, which means the sound isolation we wanted from the rest of the house doesn't happen. Darn you, Leprechaun! Let's talk a little bit more about gear. We already talked about the new microphones, and because of a delay getting this video done, should have been last week, we've actually tested it up, and that Q9U is horrendously muddy. I like what this thing does for us, but all that mud! And I've tried to get the mud out. Their presets, well, they overcorrect things. And to do it all in EQ is so tedious. I like the way the background gets cut out. I like the way it isolates the voice. I had high hopes for this. But honestly, I gave up and sent it back. The wireless lavaliers, though, they're working nicely. They aren't great. What do you expect for $50, right? Right? But they are a huge improvement over just using the cell phone microphone. They're actually pretty useful around here, and they will come in very handy for a side project I'm working on, and one day I'll tell you about that. We also already talked about plans for lighting, and I'm thinking in this roughly 11 by 11 space, that's feet, not meters, we only need max 2 more lights, probably only 1. And while I have a reflector panel set, I haven't figured out how to mount it in here. We don't really have room for more gear stands. Like I said, this room is only 11 by 11, maybe 12 by 12, but anyway. And I'm still trying to decide if I want to do permanent mounts on the walls or ceilings, or where I'd put them if I did. So your thoughts on that are, well, they're welcome. Now, I ran out of budget before I could do one other thing I consider crucial in this room, and that is sound treatment. This room has an annoying echo that I cannot pin down. We got rid of a lot of the echo with the furniture and the jerseys on the wall and the curtains over the window, but there's more to it than that. I know part of it is due to this box I created on my desk with monitor placement. And with my horrible hearing, if I can hear this echo, I know y'all can too, or at least most of y'all. And if you do hear it, rest assured we're working on it. We'll get there. Eventually, I hope. And now let's talk about programming news. And the first thing I need to talk about is Leprechaun Stories. Unfortunately, the 2 Leprechaun stories a week is becoming a problem. The 3 series we've been doing required a lot of editing. So do those Leprechaun stories, to be honest with you. And my brain, courtesy of the stroke and the migraines, well, it's struggling really hard with all that extra work. I went into detail on those issues in the last 2 monthly updates, July and August. If you missed it, you can click the links above. I'll put the links in the description below too. We'll look at doing how we do Leprechaun Stories again when we start the next Saturday series. Hopefully I can find a balancing point. If not, as much as it pains me to do it, I'll likely end up going to just Leprechaun Stories for the Friday series permanently. If I can ever get an editor. And that's purely a budget issue. We will absolutely return to doing more Leprechaun Stories. I dearly want to do more. 1 for every series, 1 for every episode. That's my dream. And that brings me to the second topic in this sequence, games. Last time I talked about changing our series lineup, and I was toying with the idea of eliminating one game and making an extra episode of one of the other. And, well, I didn't do it. At least not this time. The last 2 games, Mr. Prepper and Planet Crafter, they ended at the same time, which I was not expecting. Not at all. So currently we are playing Hard Space Shipbreaker on Friday, and we started 2 new series. DLC for this war of mine, the last broadcast, and we're playing Going Under on Monday because, well, it just looks like so much fun. And come on, let's be honest. Mondays need a little fun. Right? Right. And that brings us back to content changes. Do we eliminate one game series and increase episodes for another game? That'd mean less calendar time per game for, well, one series anyway. Like, for example, Fallout 4 would have been 24 weeks instead of 48. Or do we keep doing 3 series, which means they could last a long time? So that's the dilemma. My goal is to give you folks the content you want to see. So your thoughts are important. Let me know what you think on this in the comments below. And also be sure to include your game suggestions. And now for health news. And this is a mixed bag, and I'm going to give you both, but let me preface by saying I'm not down or depressed about any of it. I still have hope, and I refuse to give up on finding a way through all of this. When you watch the content on this channel, remember that's why I do what I do here, or at least part of why I do what I do here. I actually enjoy this. I'm glad I got into YouTube, but it's an opportunity to learn to push through, to find a way through all this crap and to show you, well, hopefully show you that you can find one through whatever you're dealing with. All right, so The disability hearing did happen this time, and if I had to describe it, I would say it was kind of an interview event. It was all virtual. They ask questions, you answer, they say, okay, it's done. And as with most interview type things, well, like I said, it was a mixed bag. There were things I should have talked about that I didn't remember till later. There was some minutia that I got wrapped up in that I shouldn't have gotten wrapped up in. If you've ever done a job interview, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And as soon as it's over, you think of the perfect answers to every question. Anyway, that's the good news. The bad news is they are apparently still waiting for some records from doctors, so it could be anywhere from 2 to 5 months before a decision actually gets made. Meanwhile, I took a brief vacation. First one in a long time. Didn't have to go for a reunion or a funeral or anything like that. And unlike these geese, I did not try flying this time. We drove a few hours north of us to visit family for several days, and we took some back roads because Google said it was the better way. No, it wasn't. Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Rough roads, lots of road noise. Anyway, the drive triggered a migraine event. Well, I say triggered. The truth is, I was on the edge of one after pushing extra content out so I wouldn't miss any scheduled uploads while I was gone. I mostly recovered over the 5 days we were there. And then we drove back, and the drive put me into another event. Best guess, the speed of the inputs and the amount of inputs on the road, plus the noise and the roughness, all combined to trigger the migraines. So the short version is, it's my usual report. Nothing is better. It sucks. But like I said, I refuse to give up. I will find the balance of what I can do and still function with my friends and family. And that includes you. And I keep trying different things to get through this. The latest attempt? My wife and I are attempting something new. We're going into gardening. We're growing some potatoes and okra and peas in buckets, and we're going to try one of these stacker planter things. You can see we've got some of it growing up. We've got squash and cucumbers and beans and carrots and onions, and I'm not sure I even remember what else we got going on. Oh, puppies are running around. Say hello, Alaska. Say hello, Eileen. So, yeah, right now we've only got the one planter, but we're planning on having two. That's the plan. This one, we'll see. It's possible that we started a little late in the season, but being this is Texas and it stays warm, we're hoping to get a crop on all of this in. We'll see. Keep looking down because dogs are running around my feet. But yeah, we're hoping the fresh air, the sunshine, all that'll help the brain. We'll see. At the very least, it will be fun trying something new. After all, that's how I got into YouTube, trying something new to help my brain. Well, thank you for spending your time with us today. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to your comments, your suggestions on stuff I asked about, and leave us any suggestions you may have to help us get better. I asked for help on a couple of specific things. Anything else you want to suggest, by all means, go for it, because we genuinely want to get better. And we want your help to do it. Also, hit that like button, subscribe, set yourself up for notifications so you don't miss anything around here. And, also to keep the YouTube algorithm happy with us, please help keep the YouTube algorithm happy with us. And if you'd like to support us here at the Chartreuse Leprechaun, check out the Patreon merch and Koji links in the description below. But finally, my usual warning to you all, the Leprechaun is out there to mess things up. As evidenced by the whole Death Stranding mess a couple of weeks ago. It's what he does to you, to me, to everyone, everywhere, all the time. So keep your eyes open. And always, always, always remember, if you see it and you can't quite explain it, you can be positive the Leprechaun did it. Now you have yourselves a great day, a great week, and we will see you here next time on the Chartreuse Leprechaun. Bye-bye.